Well, I think first of all, I wouldn't say I'm lucky. That means that I haven't done anything to earn that right. And I've paid my share of dues, and I hate that kind of term, dues, but I've done what it takes to earn the right to have whoever I work with. Given that I can only have a couple of musicians at a time, I can't respond to the general state of musicians I would hire for my band. But the people who are playing with me for the past 15, 16 years or so, I hold those people by the same standard in 2012 as I hold those people responsible in 2001, 1977, my first quartet. So my values, despite the years going by, have not changed, and my expectation levels for those I hire, no, for me it's the same. And those who want to work in my band have to learn my language. I mean, I'm flexible as a leader can be without losing control of the situation. But I think that I'm reasonable, and I've learned when to step back for a moment when I need to hear more voices in my ear from the band. But my values haven't changed. And I think as long as they are what they are, whoever fits in my musical circle, in my groups, whether it's a trio with Russell Malone and Donald Vega, or the working quartet with Irene Rosnes on piano and Peyton Crossley and Rolando Morales Matos, who are here this evening, or my 9-piece band with Forcello, whoever I'm responsible for hiring, my values and my recommendations for any one of them, whether it's 1975 or 2012, are the same. It's a challenge of trying to play good every night. The thought that I have a chance to make other people sound better is important to me. I look forward to having a chance to do that every chance I get. But every chance I get the chance to play, every night, every gig I get a chance to play, it's a chance to play wonderful music. Don't miss it. Know that the students I have taught are playing music, whether it's a jazz group or a Broadway show or what they call in New York open mic nights. You know, all these avenues of music that comes with them, you know, they may not have their ideal jazz gig, whatever they finally decide that's to be, but they find ways to keep playing the bass in other music areas, and that makes me very happy. Well, every gig is social. Every job, any job, depends on how well you can get along with your fellow workers, fellow persons. Whether it's at a desk at a computer company, whether you're responsible for picking up the trash in the neighborhood with the fellow guy driving the truck. A jazz group is no different than needing to have those social skills. And I can imagine you will find wonderful players who don't work because they lack those skills. But to ask me for a percentage on how important that is, I can't do that. Clearly it's necessary. I have a student who comes by every other month for what we call a 5,000 note checkup. And he is very busy. He finds it necessary to come and just to talk about the music and bass and have a lesson so he can see where his skill level is and how much he's done without having a teacher and how much he missed a lesson. So it's fun for me to see these guys grow every time I see them. So I'm proud of all of them. Well, I think that given I'm in New York, where I live, and that these people who have invited me to do their music projects had other choices to pick. I mean, now you can get from Paris to New York in 6 hours and go right to work at the studio, or you can go from New York to Paris, and I've done that, go right to work off the plane. So given the availability of other good bass players to come to New York, or out of New York, that these producers and musicians and band leaders have chosen me to help their project be more successful, is a good way to say that? They're all important to me. They're all peaks in my career, because I learned from each one of them. 2,500, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's probably more than that. I mean, I keep finding them. I get them in the mail from people, so I get email. On this record that you made in 1837, whatever it is, you know, and send me a copy, I remember. So yeah, it's pretty up there. get a teacher. Well, you know, people didn't used to do that, and a lot of kids think that it's okay just to kind of stumble along and stumble on ideas. Well, that kind of ideas, the press kind of encourages that kind of lackadaisical, non-serious point of view about what we do. And all of us, I think, I seldom speak for the jazz community, but I think right now I can do that. We all resent that lack of respect of doing what we do, to the extent that they let people know that anybody can do this and anybody can't do that. So my first comment toward players who want to play this music is get a teacher, because music is moving so fast. You have all these new ideas, you have new physical technology, you have new schools opening, teaching various forms of composition, and to be able for a bass player to compete in this environment, he's got to know what the bass can do. He's got to know the instrument. Physically and technically, yeah, he can no longer pick it up and go to work and hope that he's going to get lucky and get hired. One of the standard jokes in New York is a bass player, a father and his son wants to play bass. He's like 12 or 13. So his father buys him a bass, and he goes to the first lesson, he comes home and says, "What did you learn today, son?" And the son says, "I learned how to take the bass case off the bass." And the second lesson, a week later, and he goes to the lesson, and he comes back, and the father says, "Okay, son, what did you learn this time?" So I learned how to tune the strings. And a week goes by, he had the third lesson, and he comes back, and he's not home yet. It's like an hour late, and his watch is now 2 hours late, and he finally comes home, and the guy says, the dad says, "Where were you, man?" He said, "I had a gig." You know, and we're way past that. I wouldn't recommend them to pick any school in particular. I would advise them to look at the curriculum and see which curriculum offers what they think they want to learn. Having said that, I would recommend that they're really interested in going, I would recommend a school in New York City, because New York is where all the great players end up. And it's a chance to find out if you are willing to be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a huge pond, to such time as you've learned how to be able to fit in a big pond. Those would be my recommendations to them. The Bach Brandenburgs, I've kind of gotten fascinated with that again, even after recording it. And Glenn Gould's Goldberg Variations, the second version of his. He made two versions, I think. I prefer the second one. Well, I like the tempo slower. I think in general, like the Bach cello suites. I think cello players are so enamored by the skill level it takes to play them, they forget that these notes, the harmony makes them sound like this. And if they could see the chords going by like this, they'd play much slower to get the melodies to have a chordal relationship rather than just a skill level, you know. So I prefer his version second time because it seems to be able to hear the changes better. My idea was that Bach were alive, and he heard my version. He'd be very pleased at what I did to his music. I think he's one of the few classical composers whose music can be played by any instrument that it wasn't written for. There are many composers' music that can really tolerate that variety of instrumental quality that it wasn't written for. And I think if he were to walk in this room and hear my version of the four Brandenburg, of the four Bach records, three Bach records I've done, that he would be very pleased that some person was able to make his music sound like that. That never occurred to him. Well, that depends on how you define swing, and European players are now starting to feel that swing is not important to jazz, but that's their view. You know, can classical players play jazz? And my answer is that unless they start taking it very seriously at a very early age. I think the problem is that they don't understand how hard it is to do what we do. But we understand how hard it is to do what they do. So we started out doing what they do. You know, we started taking piano lessons at 5. Those classical musicians don't even consider jazz on the horizon. They don't even consider that part of music. And so for them to think that they could go to a school and have 2 lessons and come out and play a violin as good as Virginia Carter or Stephen Grappelli is an insult to us in the music. Can they ever play jazz? Not in 2 weeks. I mean, I've been playing all my life. I've been playing longer than everybody is, more than your age, put together. And I'm still getting better every night. So to expect for someone to expect them to take 2 lessons at a music school and think they can play as good as a jazz player who's been playing 50 years is it's an insult. I think they haven't heard enough variety of bebop music. I mean, all bebop music wasn't like Donna Lee, for example. All bebop melodies aren't like that. If You Could See Me Now by Tad Dameron, that's a bebop melody. It's a ballad. Do 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 do. I mean, if they would look at the variety in this music called bebop music, they wouldn't feel so boxed in by hearing one melody that goes like this. You know, it's kind of like listening with your ears like this. If they could expand their listening horizon to more of a broad view of this music called bebop, they would feel less lost when they hear something that goes real fast, like the changes to Cherokee real fast. I mean, but you know, I don't care if they don't like Donna Lee. There are other tunes to enjoy with this music. And I don't care if they don't understand the changes to all the things you are. I care if they come to the concert first of all, so they will have a chance to hear what this music sounds like and give themselves a chance to judge on their own if they don't care for it. And if they come to a concert, they leave there not liking the music, I can live with that. I can't live with them not getting there and not liking it. Ted Lowe, boy, he went to Berkeley, and he came to New York after he graduated, and I was reassembling my quartet. And someone told me that this person who came from China, who went to Berkeley, was a very good player, and I should listen to him play. And I didn't have a chance to do that because he wasn't working very much, and I was in and out of town with my own projects. When I came back to New York to off the road, I called him up on the phone and we had a rehearsal, and he was in the band for me a couple of years before he went back to China. Yeah, he was playing like Bill Evans at one time. He made some wonderful records put together with him. Well, please give him my love and tell him I miss seeing him. Yeah, Ted Lowe. Yeah, he told me he had a Chinese name, but no one could pronounce it, so he changed it to Ted Lowe.
Oh, he's always Ted Lowe.
How would I know? But please tell him I asked about it.
Okay,
And thank you for the message. Hi, this is Ron Carter. You're watching Music and Music Com. Have a good evening.